everyone, welcome to Mandy's Mess. I wanted to talk to you about books. I wanted to talk to you about books that will hopefully turn your non-reader into a reader. Now, I'm not talking about books that are going to help your child learn to read. Learning to read is a completely different skill, but I'm talking about just enjoying reading. My son was an okay reader until about a year ago, and he soon became a reader. Now, there are a couple of factors that played into that. Number one was actually these books right here. It's a series by Shannon Messenger. It's called Keeper of the Lost Cities, and he read the first one after his sister had read it, and she read through that series very, very quickly. One of her girlfriends got her into it, and then he got into it, and it very quickly turned him into a reader. Another factor that went into that is I took away his media. He was not allowed to watch any sort of TV. Well, he did watch TV with us as a family, but he could not play any sort of video games, and in his free time he had to figure out what to do, so he just started reading. So these books were what started him on that journey, and then we quickly started buying more and more books. You guys can't even see all the stacks that I have here. I've got two different sets right here. I have another shorter stack of smaller books here, and then another series right here. So I'm gonna talk to you about all of them right now. Okay, so like I was saying, the first series that I talked about, I don't even know if I have the first book, is Keeper of the Lost Cities. Here it is. The first one, super cute book. And by the way, all of these books that I'm mentioning are clean. There's no sex, there's not really any bad words in them. The content is not bad for your teen or even tween to read. It's just fantasy. My kids love fantasy, or should I say my son loves fantasy. Therefore, like, these books really piqued his interest. So it's a story about a girl. Her name is Sophie Foster, and she's been different her whole life, and she is suddenly transported into like another world, and she figures out that she has powers. Anyways, there's 9 books. These are not like small books. They are pretty good sized books. Does it have page numbers? About 800 pages, and my son will eat these for breakfast. If you can, these are a great series for your student to read. Moving on to another series. Now this one is really more from my generation than the generation before it, but it's Harry Potter. I am a big Potterhead. I've always liked Harry Potter. I actually did not become a Harry Potter fan until I was an adult, and I shared it with my kids. I don't think that you should share these books too early. I think 6th grade, 7th grade is great. That's what the level is. If your student is a really good reader and they can read before that, pretty good. But there are some older themes as Harry grows. Obviously he's more mature, and he's going to deal with things that 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds deal with. So just be aware. Some Christians have a hard time with the magic part of it. I personally don't. My son and I have conversations about how like there is no God, and when it talks about the afterlife, they just talk about going on. We talk about how we believe that there is a heaven and a hell. So as long as we are having those conversations, I don't mind him reading these, and just know that what we believe and how the author puts like life after death or things like that. Just make sure that he understands what we believe on that. And also when it comes to any sort of witchcraft, we do stay very, very far away from that. This is very much fantasy, but it's just a fun way of looking at the world. It's very fun to think that there's kind of like an alternate world, but anyways, Harry Potter is just a very fun series. I'm going to continue with the secular series. I have one more secular series, and then the rest are Christian series. This series is a How to Train Your Dragon series. Obviously, there are the movies. I think there's 3 or 4 movies, and then there was the TV show that was on Nickelodeon. I think it was on Nickelodeon. My kids have seen all of the How to Train Your Dragon episodes that are now on Netflix. We have all of the books. This is not all of them. A couple of them I left in my son's room. I just brought these to talk about them. They're interesting. They're funny. He laughs out loud as he reads them because he finds them quite funny. Nothing inappropriate in any of these books, just silly stories about a kid and dragons. The next book series that I want to talk to you about, I'm going to talk to you about some newer series, and then I'll talk to you about some classics. Okay, this one I just found. It is called The Ranger's Apprentice. I think there's 11 books in this series. Yeah, they're good sized books as well. This is 2 books right here. They're good sized books as well. I think that it is definitely a good buy if your kid likes fantasy. It's definitely something, it's definitely enjoyable. It says it should be for 10 plus. I would say that's about right. My son is 13 and there was a part in one of the books where it was getting a little dark. And he said, I don't want to read this right before bed, so he waited until the next day to read it. He just knows that about himself. He didn't want to have bad dreams. So The Ranger's Apprentice, I will link it below. It is by a Christian author. His name is John Flanagan. I don't necessarily think there are Christian themes about the book. However, there is nothing actually wrong with any of the books. It's a guy going around like in medieval times protecting the kingdom and the adventures that he goes on. Okay, the next series I want to talk to you about is The Prince Warriors. This is by a Christian author. Her name is Priscilla Schreier. He whipped through these very, very quickly. It is, here, I'll pull out the first one. All right, The Prince Warriors, the first book in Priscilla Schreier's epic new fiction trilogy, bringing life to the invisible struggle ensuing in the spiritual realm, filled with heart-stopping adventure, captivating humor, and intriguing mystery. This book promises to be action-packed page-turner that you won't want to end. I love how it talks about the spiritual journey. It is probably more of a 4th, 5th grade book. It's a slightly larger text. There are some pictures in it. But nonetheless, my son really, really enjoyed reading this series. There are 4 in the book, and we will definitely be looking for more of her books to purchase in the future. The next one, they actually made a movie, or they're starting to make a movie or a series about this. This is the Wing Feather Saga by another Christian author. This series follows 3 siblings. The trio unknowingly hold the secret to a lost legend and the jewels of Anaria, but across the dark sea lurks an evil tyrant who plots the destruction of the land. It's a good story. Again, it's a little bit younger. My son whipped through this entire trilogy in about 3 days, I think maybe 4 days, just because he's had football and he doesn't necessarily get as much time to read as he wants to. But it was a really good series, and I highly, highly recommend it for any Christian parent who's looking for a good series for their student. Another Christian series that is more on the fantasy side is the Green Ember series. There are several books in this series, and there is also a spin-off series. He is just starting to read these and just get into them. He is very, very much enjoying them. The author is S.D. Smith. So this story is about a couple of sword-bearing rabbits on a daring quest. It's a very fun series, 2 rabbits. He likes fantasy, like I said earlier. Pretty much all these books are fantasy and otherworldly. So if you have a student that likes that, I would definitely purchase these. The last set is an oldie but a goodie. I have almost all of them here, but it is the Chronicles of Narnia. This is actually the book set that I had when I was his age. Right now he's reading The Voyage of the Dawn Treader because like I told you in my curriculum clean out, I will link that video here, that he is doing the IEW series. And so he just finished Prince Caspian. We just started Voyage of the Dawn Treader last night, and we're going through the Journey Through Narnia series. This one is an amazing series. It's very much follows different stories in the Bible, but through a fantasy, and there are lots of life lessons to be learned. I absolutely love this series. It doesn't necessarily follow like specific characters all the way through. It's just a series about the land of Narnia from its inception to the end. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mandy's Mess. If you made it to this part of the video, go ahead and comment with this emoji, and I will see you in my next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I can't wait to see you guys in the next one, and happy reading with your kiddos.